State, where a coroner's court has commenced an inquest into the circumstances surrounding the death of Mr. Patrick Peresuode as a result of alleged torture. The proceedings, which began amid heightened public interest, aim to establish the cause of death and determine whether any individuals or institutions bear responsibility. Joseph Kunde has details.
At the sitting, legal representatives, family members, and key witnesses were present as the court outlined its scope and procedures. The coroner, Magistrate Obiri Florentel, emphasized that the inquest is a fact-finding process designed to uncover the truth based on available evidence.
So far, so good. We do not know. At this point, we cannot be conclusive as to what caused the death of the disease until when we are through with the evidence, because we have to a certain extent gotten a lead as to what caused the death of the disease, but we will not want to speculate until we conclude our evidence. And we pray and want the general public to know that the Office of the Honorable Attorney General, ably led by Bria Dambo, is very serious. Particularly, even His Excellency is monitoring. His Excellency, the Governor of Bayelsa State, is monitoring this coroner's inquest.
Counsel to the deceased family called for transparency and diligence, urging the court to thoroughly examine all material evidence, including medical reports, eyewitness accounts, and any relevant security records. On their part, representatives of concerned agencies assured the court of their cooperation, pledging to provide all necessary documentation to aid the investigation.
What he did was to recount, as somebody who was there, who saw his brother hale and hearty in his ward between the 15th of January to the 20th of January. And throughout this period, the disease was in the custody of the police. Was in the custody of the police. So that was his testimony. I don't want to preempt what will be the eventual outcome of this inquest. So I think we should all wait, hear all the evidence that will come from all the witnesses that will be summoned to come and testify before this coroner. And we all should be willing to wait and hear the eventual outcome at the end of the entire inquiry or inquest.
The coroner adjourned the matter to allow for the presentation of additional witnesses and submission of key documents expected to shed more light on the incident. Joseph Kunde, TVC News, Yanagua.
Senior reporter Joseph Kunde joins me now. Joseph, from the proceedings, what stood out as the major concern surrounding the death of this individual?
Basically, it is a fact-finding proceeding as it is, and we have three critical questions that we're actually looking at. The first one happens to be what caused the death of Patrick. The second one is looking at the circumstances surrounding his death. And the third one happens to be if there was any form of negligence or misconduct by officials or men of the police, or as the case may be, of the NSCDC when the arrest was made. Remember, this case happened sometime in January, where the guy was arrested. Patrick was arrested in January, 15th of January. And of course, some days later, he was released before he eventually met his doom, where he died on the 29th of January. It has raised a whole lot of dust in terms of coming through from the public, and that's why this corona is being brought up. And we are looking forward to a possible conclusion of this whole matter in the coming days. Okay, with the matter adjourned now, what is the expected timeline for the inquest, and how long could this process take? Unfortunately, it has not been really said, but one thing that is certain by the coroner, he has always said that, look, you have to make sure that this thing is done timely. We've been having a series of daily meetings, except for the couple of days where we had a break. So for this to happen, it means that even the governor of the state has said is interested in the matter, the Attorney General of the state as well is interested in the matter. Now they are trying to see, and they want to find out how the man Patrick died, and if anybody or any agency was responsible for his death. So basically, if the case goes along, in fact, as we speak, the IPO of the case, when it was taken to the police station, was actually asked to come back again to come for another cross-examination. So it's going to be, we're going to be having a lot of back and forth coming through in the coming days.
Okay, so if the inquest establishes some wrongdoing, what are the possible legal implications for those found responsible for Patrick's death?
Yeah, currently, right now, they're trying to see if it is going to move from a civil matter into a criminal matter, in the sense that we will now say, okay, this person was responsible. If it's the police officers, the kind of conduct that they had to put in place to ensure that that kind of thing happened. Because one of the storyline that the younger brother said when he was testifying, he said that while they were there in police custody, they moved them out, and by the time he came back, the brother was not the way he used to be. And the police said, no, we took him to the hospital. So there's a lot of questions here and there. So if this thing is being done, then they cannot start, the coroner cannot bring a recommendation whereby we'll now be looking at where this person can be tried and seeing that the justice can actually be served to the death of Patrick Peresuode.
Okay, thank you so much, Senior Reporter Joseph Kunde. Thank you for coming on the show.